everyone. It's good to be with you again. And today we're going to talk about this coming Sunday's gospel and the readings. And this coming Sunday is about the Beatitudes. And it will be the fourth Sunday of Ordinary Time. So I'm here to be happy to discuss with you and share with you the lesson I had with my grandchildren yesterday. Before we started with the Beatitudes, we said our opening prayer. Now at this point, they're leading it. So every week they're leading the prayer, and we all follow and add what we have to share with it. And I'm glad because it gives them responsibility and they're not afraid to do it anymore. They're comfortable doing it. At first, they were a little intimidated by it, but they've gotten to a point where they're really comfortable with it. So that's great. And then we got into the week before's lesson. And the reason I did that was because, if you remember, we didn't meet because it was Martin Luther King holiday. And I always am with the children on Mondays. So I did want to review it. And because it had a lot to do with maps and, at least for the older children, and about Jesus starting his ministry. So I went there with them and I said, so what happened? They tell me, well, Jesus was on, the Sea of Galilee. We showed it on the map. And I said, who did he meet? Oh, he met Peter and Andrew, they're brothers, Grandma. Oh, yeah. And then they met two other brothers. What was their father's name? And he said Zebedee. So I said to them, I'm really impressed. We didn't even have a lesson and you know this. And I said, oh, yeah, because we heard it at church. And then one of them starts to think and she says, I was thinking, Grandma, by the way, we haven't missed church since Advent. And I'm like, really? It's nice. And inside I'm going, yes, how great is that? And I think, again, because this program is gospel-based, they feel comfortable enough that they can go into church on Sunday for Mass, and they have some kind of ownership. I've never really had the conversation with my own children about it. I figured let it take its course. And I think my own children are realizing, or my son anyway, and his wife, are realizing, they can't be learning this on Monday, and if we're not going to follow up by going to church on Sunday. Because it's one thing to hear it at a lesson on Monday, but to hear it proclaimed to the community on Sunday only adds to it. So I have to say, I was very pleased to hear that. So that was a good thing. So again, here we are. They're learning about John the Baptist, who they're very familiar with from, the week before in that gospel. And he's imprisoned and Jesus goes off to Galilee, and where he, again, meets the brothers at the Sea of Galilee. So we had that discussion. What were the brothers' names? What did they do for a living? Now you understand, now they're going to be called to be fishers of men and women. What does that mean? So we had that little conversation about it. And this was actually, and I said to them, this is Jesus's first day on the job. He's been baptized. He's ready to go with his ministry. And here's the beginning. He's starting to choose those apostles and the disciples to follow him. And he's asking them, quite a bit from them in order to do that, which he asked for us as well. So we went through that lesson, and then we got on to this coming Sunday's lesson, which is about the Beatitudes, Sermon on the Mount, how Jesus begins that sermon. And, Beatitudes are a very difficult topic to teach. What do I know? Because when I was in college, I did my senior independent study was on the Beatitudes. And I did it because I chose the Beatitudes because every All Saints Day, when you hear that gospel proclaimed, I often wondered, can we do that too? Can we be merciful and really and all these things? Because I know Jesus can. And is it Jesus saying it because Jesus can, or can we actually follow? And then at the end of the day, when I did all my research and chose a person to match a particular beatitude, like Mahatma Gandhi for peacemaker, for, Francis of Assisi, pure of heart, all of those things. Yes, I can say to you, definitely, it's something for all of us to follow, a way of doing that. Now, trying to teach this to children is difficult. It's difficult even to try to teach this to adults. What does it mean to be pure of heart? What does it really mean to be merciful? What does it really mean to be mournful? What does that all mean? So Jesus is asking a lot from us, I think, in a good way, different from the commandments. Commandments are easier. I mean, in terms of, I understand it. I'm not to lie. I'm not to steal. I'm not to, and I need to keep holding the Lord's Day and to honor my parents. It's almost kind of simple compared to the Beatitudes. Jesus takes us to another level and says, if you really want to follow me, um, if you want to be happy, at least that's what we read, to be happy. He certainly shows us another way to do that. Personally, I struggle with the word happy. I don't know. Well, I struggle with it because if you think of happiness, whatever that means, it comes and goes, it's fleeting. And where we can say, I'm feeling joyful, I'm feeling peaceful, I'm feeling fulfilled, I'm feeling satisfied, I'm one with my God. I think that's maybe covers the whole umbrella of happy. But again, that comes and goes. And the test in time, and those of us who've lived a while in life realize even those times when we don't feel happy, we still have to be a disciple. And not that we shouldn't pay attention to how we're feeling, we certainly should, but it's those times when we're really feeling challenged that thinking of another person or helping another person can make us feel better, can help us feel more joyful, can help us feel more, um, content. I think that's what happiness means. It's to mean, we still have to come out of ourselves to do that. So what I wanted to do with them first, because I knew the Beatitudes could be difficult. I found a video. I did a little, YouTube. I did a little Google search as well, and I came across a video that now they're older, so it was, certainly background music was a song we sing at Mass, usually on All Saints Day, Blessed Start They. And then so that was the music, but it also had the lyrics, so they had to read them. But the pictures were very appropriate. And I think going into a lesson that could be difficult, like the Beatitudes, it's nice to have a visual to go into that with. I know I'm a visual learner as well. So for me, it made sense before we even went into get into depth with the lesson. So I think that really helped them. There are also all other kind of, videos for younger children that are animated or whatever to help them understand at their level what that might mean. So we went through it, and it was interesting. They had lots of questions, which was good. Grandma, what do you mean to mourn? What do you mean you're going to be comforted? What is pure of heart? What is so we really had to go into it and get into the lesson really deeply. They will see it again. They will visit this again in their lifetime, in their religious education. But they're starting to get a handle on it. What does it mean? This is the way we're supposed to be. So we went through it, and we did it. And I think they had a better understanding. And I wanted to kind of pull it all together like you would a lesson. Let's bring it together. Let's wrap this up in a way that you'll understand it. So what I did, I Googled again, and I came across prayer, the Beatitudes. You can see I put in a little picture, I did change the wording to something so that it would become more understandable for them at their level. So I think there's no problem with that. But I just wanted to pull it together instead of just a closing prayer. Let's do a prayer about the Beatitudes. And let me just tell you, it starts with this: God of the prophets, God of Christ, we are reminded today that your blessings do not necessarily follow the logic of the world. Boom. No, they don't follow the logic of the world. And I think that is the key lesson for all of us. We get so pulled in with worldly things. I mean, it's human. We do. But Jesus has a totally different story, a totally different proposal when he goes through the Beatitudes. Things of the world are not going to make you happy. Try teaching that to children. Try teaching that to even younger children who love certain things or love presents, and because that's who they are. We all do. But to challenge that and say, you know what? You can get all the things you want. That's, materialistic. It's not going to give you what Jesus is promising to give you if you follow these. So again, with this prayer, it really kind of pulled it together for them and for me. And we had our lesson. We had our lesson on the Beatitudes, how to be a beatitudinal person, if you want to say. Yes, we can do it. But it's Jesus's great gift to us. And that so begins the Sermon on the Mount. And I told them yesterday, as we continue with the Gospels, we're going to be going through more and more of Jesus' teachings on that mount. So we still have a lot to learn, but to pay attention and pray that prayer often, because it's good to remember, and you will develop into this kind of a person. You can't expect it to happen today, but to be aware and to know that what Jesus is saying to us is something that the world cannot give us. That's very difficult, especially in today's time, probably every time in history, but especially today, and trying to get that across to other children. And when they see their friends and what they get, and how much is necessary to try to be other-centered. So that was our lesson yesterday on the Beatitudes. Next week, we'll be talking about salt and light. And I look forward to that as well. And I hope you have a good week. I hope you have a good lesson. And again, any questions, concerns, you want me to send you the prayer, just email me at marilyn@flom.com. Okay. Have a good week. Take care. Bye-bye.